In order to do a histograms question, you need to remember what frequency density means. And frequency density, I'll just write FD, is equal to, for each group, the frequency divided by the class width. And let's remember what that means. And it helps here to take our table and work out the frequency density for the classes that we have here. So let's work out the frequency density for each group. And we can only do that for some of them, but that should still help. So let's have a look at the first group. The frequency density is the frequency, well that's 100, divided by the class width. And the class width here is from 0 to 10. So 100 divided by 10, the frequency density for that first group, so that says divide not plus, 100 divided by 10, which comes out as 10. So the frequency density for that first group, the group that goes from 0 to 10, is going to be 10. Now if we look at the table, if we look at the histogram rather, it doesn't help us, the first group isn't actually shown there. So let's have a look at the second group here, second class. Frequency density is going to be the frequency divided by the width of this second class. And the width of this second class, that's from 10 to 15, is 5. And 60 divided by 5 comes out as 12. Now that is going to help us, because if we look at the histogram, that second group, the group that goes from 10 to 15, is shown in the histogram as well, which means that the height, which is the frequency density here, must be 12. That's not particularly clear on mine, so what I've done here is I have marked each centimetre on the vertical scale, in other words 5 little squares, and I can see that for my frequency density here of 12, it's 6 centimetres in terms of height here. So I can easily work out what the scale is here. It must go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So there's my frequency density scale. Okay, let's have a look at how I could draw then. I'm going to go back now and draw the rectangle on the histogram for this first group. Now the first group, the frequency density is 10, which means that the rectangle must be here. And I can shade in, and I'm going to shade that to make it a bit more obvious. So the first rectangle in my histogram must look like that. Okay, let's carry on down. If we look at the third group, we can see that the group that goes from 15 to 30, I can see that the frequency density is 8. Now remember, for a histogram, the area of each rectangle is what tells you the frequency. Now if I look at this third rectangle, the area is, well, it's 15 across the bottom here, multiplied by the height, and I can read off the scale here, I can see that that's 15 times 8, which is 120. So the frequency for that third group is 120. I can fill that in here. There we go, 120. Fourth group, I can see that the area there, well, the width across here from 30 to 50, that's actually 20. The height is exactly halfway between 4 and 6. In other words, the height there is 5, which means that the area, remember again, it's the area that represents the frequency, the area is just 5 multiplied by 20, which equals 100. So the frequency for that fourth group there is 100. What we need to do next is complete the histogram. So if we go to, so we're complete for those first 4 sections now. We've got the table filled in and we've got the histogram filled in. Let's go now to this group here and work out the frequency density. The frequency density is going to be the frequency divided by the class width here. Well, the class width is from 50 to 75. Well, that's 50 divided by 25, and 50 divided by 25 is 2. So the rectangle for the 50 to 75 group must have a frequency density of 2. Now that's just here. So we're talking about the 50 going all the way up to 75 group, which is here. If we just go down, so you can do it more accurately than me. So the histogram there completed for 50 to 75, the height must be 2. And if we look at this 6th group, the frequency density there is 20. The frequency divided by, now we're talking about from 75 to 80 here, well that's just 5, and 20 divided by 5 comes out as just 4. So if we're looking at the last group here, the width is, we're going from 75 to 80, but we're going up to 4. So if we just mark that here, 4 is going to take me to here, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In other words, the height there is 4, and that's my last rectangle.